Hello, hello, and welcome to a moment with Vivacious. Today has been so exciting for me. I didn't go to work, y'all. I was just out doing things, getting some things ready. Don't forget Milledgeville, Macon, get ready on the 21st. We do have that out to vote rally. Look, Milledgeville, you were the capital of Georgia at one time, and we just making y'all alive to the world. Come on out, bring your friends. We'll see you there. We shouting, we speaking, we partying, we eating, we dancing. Come on out. Let's do this. Let's come alive. Well, tonight we have with us Mr. Scott Gibson. Everybody's been saying, when is Scotty coming back? When is he coming back? Well, he's back tonight and he's talking about restoring, I think it's restoring our culture. I just know it's culture. And how our culture is our foundation of who we are. So look, go get all your friends while we have this intro going. Text him, tell him he's on air. We on air. Moments with Vivacious is on air. See you in a moment. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious, a freedom ride where we the people gather to build ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. For the sound of America for Progress has reached critical mass. Understanding that we must put aside our differences to focus on the greater good. This is a place of collaboration to rebuild and restore our nation. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi,
How
I
you doing
don't
tonight?
have sound, Kim.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you clear.
Mackenzie? Hello? I
Yeah,
am
you
so
can't hear me? I can hear you
okay.
fine.
Now I can hear. Now I can hear.
Okay. How you doing
Mackenzie, are you
tonight?
there? Okay. Hi, Scotty. How are
How you doing?
you?
I'm
Sorry for the
doing
glitch,
good as
y'all.
usual. I'm doing good as usual.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Making the world go around, making things happen for so many people, right, Scotty? That's
Yeah,
what you do.
absolutely. I'm big in this community and I'm out here doing my work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, man. We don't know how many people suffering behind their smiles, do we, Scotty?
Oh man, no. You know, um, everybody's out here, living this big life, but I mean, behind the scenes, it's terrible. Drugs, alcohol, depression, just out of control sex. I mean, and the problem really is they getting younger and younger. They trying to. Everybody's like growing up before they have to. And in a time like today, you don't have to do that. But it's just social media it just has a hold on people, and it's really bad. I think that when you get to see it every day, like with what I do, I'm seeing it. I'm on the ground with it every day, and and it's from five and up. It's not even an age limit anymore. It's bad. But we're going to make it better, though. We taking one step at a time. One person at a time, one family at a time. As long as you're willing to get help, we're here to help you. So that's the best thing about it.
And with Vivacious Speaks, we hoping we enlightening you, changing your mind. So if you want help and need help, don't know that you need it, that we'll have you thinking and saying, wait, I need some help. That's
Oh
what
yeah.
we're about. But tonight, I want to talk about culture. And I'm going to tell you why I picked that subject. I picked that subject because we have lost the things that were, to me, that were empowering. But that's why I have guests that come on that I think can speak strong in the subject, because We're not going to all, see it the same way, but to help us see a bigger vision than we see. I had a little boy, patient. I'm not going to tell all of his story. It was really sad. He was one that didn't know he needed help, but this was a big deal to me. He was Latino, and all he could say is to me, he was crying, 15. This is not my culture. I don't want to be here. Look, I don't want to be here. This is not my culture. And I'm thinking to myself, God, I wonder how many of our children, or how how many of us realize how far we've gotten away from our culture. Tell us. Good evening, Nola Reeds. Good evening, Sigrid. How y'all doing tonight? Thanks for joining us. Tell me, let's start about a foundation of culture and where we came from. Give us a little picture, can you?
Well, you got to understand that everybody knows that slavery and everything like that, but 1619 is when the first African feet supposedly stepped foot on American land. But a lot of people don't understand that a lot of the black people that came here early, they weren't slaves. They were indentured servants and stuff like that. And a lot of black people had money, and they also had black slaves. But you can't talk about that because you can't scare people with that right there. That's the truth. But I think that the 400 plus years that we've been here, I think that the difference was for us is before the 1964 Civil Rights Act, we were still in our culture because we weren't able to integrate into the system of America. So we still had, mothers and fathers in the house. You still have black-owned businesses in the community, and the community was pretty much intact. So, like you heard me say before, after the 1964 Civil Rights Bill was signed, me being born in 1969, I'm literally like first generation post civil rights. So what happened was, where we kind of the foundation started getting shaky for foundational Black Americans was that now you had the opportunity to get out your community and move around freely. And with that, what happens with that is now it's like, okay, well, I was forced to go to maybe, Joe's store in my community. And now that I can go downtown to like Woolworth or some other big store, I'm gonna go down there and see what they have to offer. And what happened with that was you took the money out of the community, and the more that the people did that, well, like most people that come to America, we slowly started assimilating into the system. So now the Black community is kind of as far as business wise, it's kind of broken up now. It started to fall apart. So then you started getting into, the music changed, and then you had, television, and then you had the press, and you had all of these different things that got into the foundation of us of Black people in America. So we just slowly, one generation will come in. My generation came in. We did our thing, and then we had kids, and the opportunities were different for our kids. So we wanted our kids to have other opportunities. So instead of staying in the community and building up those schools, we moved out and sent our kids to other schools. And next thing you know, our school started to fall down, and elements got in the community, and things just started changing. Then you got drugs. I'm from New York, so I can't really speak on a whole bunch of different places, but I can say with all honesty that every city is the same. Every city where there's Black people, it's the same. Whether it's a big city, it's a small city, it's the same. So you get all of these things coming in and making these changes. That's what happened to the community. So now we have this generation who have totally assimilated into the American way of life. And a lot of people don't understand. They say, oh, what do you mean assimilated? I mean that you seeing things that might be seeing things now that young black people doing that young white kids been doing forever. But you can't put that on TV, and you can't scare white people with white people. So, and they're not going to air their dirty laundry. They're going to make it seem like, oh, everything was all great. We were all family. It's nothing but love here with us. We've all supported. We're all patriots and everything like that. And that wasn't the case. But with us, it's just post-civil rights. You had like welfare come in, and you got the fathers out of the home, and life just took a different direction for us. And now we, unfortunately, the father's going welfare, and like I said, drugs, the music, and I mean TV, movies, all of that just changed. And that's why we are in the situation that we are in now. That's what happened. That's what happened to the foundation. That's why it's so rocky right now. It's not broken, but it's just rocky.
I hope it's not broken.
No.
But we can talk black. We can talk about our black, and we can, talk about all of us together. But our black community, we've lost our culture. But America, in my eyesight, we have, like, man, it's almost like, for me, it's almost like our souls is at stake. Going back to the black community, the church then and the church now, the church played a large part in the black community. Do you think the church started changing and moving away from our culture, and that could be a big problem? This is just one, just a moment. That could be a big problem in us, almost like our culture, losing our culture.
Well, let's look at it like this right here. You have the church that once upon a time, they were really big into the community. That was, like you said, that was our voice. That's where you went to get information. That's where the knowledge came from. But the pastors were living a different lifestyle also. I'm not saying that they weren't, it wasn't about money, but it was more community. So if you have like all these black businesses and all these black families in one place, and then the church is there as the headpiece, they're going to come there and they're going to unite together. But ask yourself about the church. What's going on in there now? You see the preachers nowadays. I mean, they look like rappers. They wearing the jewelry. They wearing the big car. They driving the big cars. I mean, they wearing the flashy clothes. I mean, you see Juanita Bynum. She just had a video, and she was talking about how the women of the church are dressing, and it's like the outside has gotten into the inside. So once that happens, I mean, what can you do? Now it's like, who do you turn to? It's like everybody's just out for themselves, and it's bad because everything is about money, 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 money. I mean, you're not going to save a community just by throwing money at it. We already seen that. You got to throw love at it. You got to throw support. You got to have the right leadership. But if the leadership is going to jail for fraud, or you have a pastor asking people to buy him a $60 million jet, how am I supposed to respect that? As a person that's out here working hard every single day, and then I'm seeing and I'm hearing this, and it's like, okay, well, God, are you listening? You're going to step in here. You're going to do something about it. Again, it's just the assimilation, because this is what has been going on in this country forever. It's just that now we have assimilated into it. So we part of it now, and we have to deal with that. And it's not, like you said, it's not just black people, but everybody. I mean, it's a steady it's all about programming. The TV's programming, social media got everybody going crazy. I mean, there's no control there. So people can do and say what they want to do. And unfortunately, it's the younger people are getting into it. And I mean, real young, we see them 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old on their cell phone, and you got vultures on the internet that's preying on these kids, and they think that is cool. But when you have a parent that says to a child, okay, I don't have time for you, here's the cell phone, play with this right here while mommy's doing this, or while daddy's at work, or if mommy and daddy are even around. So now they get caught up into that, and that's starting to lead them into another direction. And it's the same thing again with the church. These are people that we're supposed to look up to. These people are supposed to be pillars in the community. But if they look like just everybody else in the community that are out here doing things that they ain't got no business, I mean, what are we supposed to do? What are people supposed to do? And not just black people, but what are people in general supposed to do? Who are they supposed to turn to find the answers?
Nola Reed said, why do they even need a phone at these young ages?
Well, that's because that's what the parents give them. Because that's just the way to pacify them. Remember back in the days when children were younger, what did the parents do? They sat them in front of the TV. So they sit them in front of the TV so they can do all the things that they want to do. And guess what? The TV is occupying them and keeping their attention. So now the parents don't have to deal with them. And now you can take the cell phone with you anywhere. So you got them in the back seat of the car doing it. You see them at the restaurant. Nobody's talking to each other. Everybody's at the restaurant sitting there tapping on their cell phones, and nobody's paying attention to each other. Nobody is communicating with each other. So guess what? You don't even realize that your 13-year-old daughter is on drugs. Or that your 13-year-old daughter is out here doing something she ain't got no business because that she learned in a chat group. I remember once upon a time, my daughter I lived in Augusta, Georgia. My daughter said, hey, I met some friends online in Atlanta. They want me to come to a concert. Y'all can just drop me off. We were like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? Drop you off. And that's when we had to rein in that cell phone because there's monsters on there. And they're willing to do and say anything. That's how a lot of these young girls get caught up with these sex traffickers. And that ain't just young girls, it's older women too that get caught up with these people. Because they don't see them, they don't have that love anymore for people because everybody's so obsessed with getting money. And the music did that. The videos did that. How do you say to a young person that's living in an area like me, like living in New York, where there wasn't a whole bunch of jobs for us to get. And then you telling everybody, look, oh, the jewelry, the cars, the clothes, the flash. And it ain't just rap music that's doing this. I want to be clear. It's all the music doing it. Even country and western is doing it now. But you selling this to people, and then they want that. So guess what? They're going to do what they got to do to go get it. I can't tell somebody, oh, you wrong for doing this, you wrong for doing that. I mean, this is what you know. And if they don't have a strong, positive role model in their life, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a parent, but just somebody strong in their life to tell them this, they're going to go in the wrong direction. I know. I went there. I went down that path till I got I lived with my grandparents, and, my grandparents were hard on us. Then, unfortunately.
Was it hard or was it structured?
It was structured. It was structured. It was hard. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And it's like a pendulum, Then when my grandparents retired, it was like, okay, you got to go live with your mom. Well, my mom had me when she was 18 years old. She had my brother when she was 16 years old. So now the pendulum just totally swung the other way because my mom was still young and my mom still wanted to enjoy her life too. So now you got a house full of teenagers and they don't really have any guidance. You got a roof over our head, but we don't got any guidance. And the only thing that saved me and my brother and my sisters from getting killed or going to jail is that we lived overseas. Because if we were doing the things that we were doing over here, I wouldn't even be talking to you right now. I'd probably be dead or in jail. Because we didn't have any rules. It was literally like the pendulum swung from one side to the other. So now you got this strong hand on you 1 minute, and then all of a sudden it swings back the other way. But I have a friend named Pete, And Pete's parents took me in, and his father was his parents were like back to that discipline that my grandparents had, that strong discipline. And the next thing you know, I was back in school. I was getting my GED, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have had that foundation to be able to, go to college and become a nurse and everything like that. But Joseph and Vera Hayes, I credit them for that right there, because they allowed me to still be young, but I didn't have to do all the crazy things that I was doing. So my life changed. You put somebody in a different situation, you're going to get different results. It's you can't you have a lot of young people out here having kids, but the problem is, if you're a child and you have a child and your mother's a child, how is a child going to teach a child how to be an adult when they still a child? And then they get to a certain age, and then you just have a cycle that just repeats, and it never breaks. And that's with every race in America, because I've seen it. Black, white, Asian, Mexican, I see them all. I deal with them all. So it's not like to say, oh well, let's these people right here. You can't scare certain groups of people with people that look like them. That's not how you scare them. You can't cause division like that. You scare them by saying, "Oh, these people out here doing this." Let me give you an example.
Okay.
In 2022, black people were only the black. I'm only talking about black people now. In 2022, only 17% of black people were living in poverty, under the poverty line. So that means that 83% of black people were middle class and above. But here's the problem. You don't get to see that part. You ain't seeing that. All you see is the 17%, and this is what they pump into the world. So when the whole world is like, oh, these people and everything like that, well, this is what we feed them. This is what we allow them to feed to us. So you thinking that, oh man, all black people are living in the hood and all black people walking around with their pants sagging and these parents ain't doing nothing. That ain't true. You have a lot of black people out here that's hard-working, tax-paying citizens. I'm not gonna say all of them. I'm not gonna say all of them are taxpayers, but what I'm saying is that if you have 83% of black people that are living in middle and upper class, where they at? Why ain't they stepping up? Where's their voice at? Where the media representing them at? We already see the 17%. We see that every time. We hear that and see that every time we turn on the radio. Every time you turn on the video, you see that right there all over YouTube. Everybody arguing with each other, saying black men and black women don't get along. That ain't true. Black men and black women get along just fine. Black boys and girls are the ones out here fighting and yelling at each other over nonsense. But black men and black women out here taking care of their business.
But can I say this? I want to
Yeah.
say this. First of all, I want to talk about. We're gonna come back to that curse word you said, and that's discipline. Okay,
Yup.
we're gonna come back to that curse word.
Mhm.
But I want to, if I can, we don't worry about safe zones here on Moments.
No.
Okay, I moved to a black neighborhood because I wanted to help build my neighborhood. I wanted to give. I wanted to reap what I sowed. Because when we were young, our culture and our community was that the young people took care of the older people.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be in that community where if I needed something, one of the younger children would come and say, Miss Petit, do you need something? Like we would say to Miss Riley and Miss Morrison and Miss Wright, okay? But I was so uncomfortable, especially coming home. I'm being real. Coming home 2 o'clock in the morning alone. Coming home one night and I could see some young guys hiding behind a car. So I moved out of that neighborhood and I moved into a neighborhood. I moved out of away from my culture that I was intending to go help restore to a place where I feel like I can come home 2 o'clock in the morning. Can we address that?
Well, yeah. Well, again, like I said, when you have young people that, they parents are young, they're young and they having young children. Well, young people, when they ain't doing nothing, they're gonna creep. They're gonna be out there looking for the easy come up. And again, like I said, that's not just black people. I've seen it. I've worked in communities where you got one house and you look around and there's 30 trailer parks. I worked in a house where I walked in the door, they had a Confederate flag hanging in the living room, and I'm supposed to work here. I'm working home health and I'm working in this. But when people don't have that discipline and they're not taking that initiative, they're gonna take the easy way out. And the easy way out, unfortunately, is to take from other people that have. I know because I was like that. I wanted that. I can tell you about the guns and the drugs and doing all of that nonsense and everything like that. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair, and nobody has a right to do it. But when people don't have opportunities or they don't think they have a way out, they're going to do what they have to do to survive. In America, America make it hard for young people. Um, as far as like, being in the community and being safe and everything like that, you know, it only takes one bad apple to spoil a community. I mean, you might have somebody that's lived in the projects and they get the opportunity to move out and they bring their kids with them. Well, guess what? They bring in that with them.
Element.
They bringing that with them. So guess what? They might not have been the big fish in the place they were at, but guess what? They come down there with all that yo, all that nonsense, and there's kids down there that's going to be attracted to that. They're going to be like, oh man, that person is cool, that person is hip, and everything like that, not realizing that what you already have with your parents at home is the cool hip situation. That's the situation that these kids would be dying to get in. And I can tell you because my mom was never really around too much, and we never locked our front door at our apartment because we were coming in there in and all hours of the night. When I lived in New York, unfortunately, both my aunt and my uncle were on drugs, and we had people coming in and out of there all night. I literally seen people getting robbed in the house. People. We just had just people in and out, and you dealing with people who just didn't think they had no opportunities, nothing going on. When you telling and showing people this, like, everybody think that, oh, I gotta be a drug dealer, or you glorifying, oh, I'm a stripper, I'm a dancer, I'm making money, and all these negative things. I gotta be able to play sports, selling drugs, or you playing sports. And if this is the message that you constantly drill into people, they start buying into it. And this is something that has been drilled into us in the Black community for years. Again, like I said, that 83% that's living that middle and that upper class life, well, where they at? They got to get out there and start saying, hey, look, we can make a change too. But then again, you want to say, all right, I'm going to go help so-and-so's children. I'm going to be in the community. But guess what? Now you got some kids who come from a non-disciplined house, and the kids is in there cursing you out, yelling and talking all any kind of way to you. And it's like, who wants to be bothered with that? So if you ain't getting it at home, if you're not respecting it, if you're not respecting your parents, why would anybody think you're going to respect anybody else's parents? That's not what society's telling us. Do you see it? You see it now. You hear it was at one point in time where women wouldn't curse. They wouldn't be out in public yelling and screaming. Now look at them. Because this is the message that's constantly being bombarded on them, and it ain't no rules no more. Everybody's just like out for themselves, and unfortunately, it's going to be casualties to that. So the question is, who's going to step up and do it? It don't matter who your president is. President's going to make rules and regulations. The Senate and the Congress, they're going to block it. That's just the way it is. It's going to go back and forth. But what about at the county level, at the state level? That's where the changes are going to be made. That's where the people need to get out and vote. That's it right there. But if you depending on your government to get in there and fix the situation, I got news for you. America been around for a long time and they ain't fixed it yet. It's not a priority. If you tell people, oh, we don't got no money for this, we don't got no money for that, but then we sit around and watch you send $100 billion overseas, it's a problem there. There's something wrong there. When people, you telling us, oh, we're gonna cut school lunches, but you sending the tax dollars overseas, it's something wrong with that. But you got so many people. It's the thing about America is this: it's not racism. That might be one little lane, little avenue. It's not racism. It's economics.
I think that's a big part of it.
But it's economics because I can tell you this right here. If I got $1 million and you got $1 million, we ain't got no problem with each other, no matter what color we are. And if you got 100 million, I got 100 million, guess what? We're going to get along just fine because our kids are going to go to better schools. We're going to live in better areas. Don't get it confused. There's some really expensive, rich black areas in America. But they're going to keep the gates up because they don't want that element to get in, and you can't blame them. But it's economics. It's the money is the key to everything. If you ain't got it, ain't nobody trying to hear what you're saying. If you have millions of dollars, you can make a change. There's a guy, he's a police officer, and he said that he was working on a drug task force, and he was going to different states and different cities and everything like that. And he noticed that they were always going to the Black and the Hispanic community. And he said to his chief one day, he said, hey man, if they doing drugs in the suburbs even more than they doing it here, why ain't we out there arresting those people? They do more drugs. And his boss was like, you right, they are doing more drugs out there. But the difference is out there, they can pick up the phone and call the mayor, or they know somebody on the board, and they can make it to where it won't happen. And they come to our communities. He said it's easy, it's low-hanging fruit. That's why they do it, because we ain't got nobody to call, because the people that need to be in the community ain't in the community. You might be the councilman of so-and-so, but you don't live in the neighborhood, so nobody can reach you. So it's economics, it's money. Is it racism in America? Absolutely, it's racism, but racism is just the tool that they use to keep everybody divided. If everybody's going through the same thing, if the taxes is hitting everybody, if everybody's groceries are higher, if everybody's gas is higher, why are we fighting each other over that? That's something that we all experience. That's not one group this or one group that. We all experiencing that. So instead of yelling and screaming at each other, maybe we need to point and look at where the real problem is at. And that's Washington. That's the people that you elected. If you think that if everybody's out here going crazy for this vote, and you know how I am about vote, and it's a good thing. But the problem is this: you can have the president, but if the Senate and the Congress are still the same people, nothing's going to change. These are lifetime positions, and nothing's going to change. It's not going to change till you start holding people accountable. And if these people feel that the best way to get things done is to, you electing a millionaire to go to Washington to represent you, what you think you're going to get out of that? He ain't going to do nothing for you because he don't know you struggle. So you have to get these people on these local levels, and you have to hold people accountable. You can't just say, oh, well, they're going through a mental crisis, or oh well, we don't understand them. If anybody's going to put us out to burn, then they need to be put out to burn. And sometimes you got to turn your back on people for good and say you got to wash your hands with them. But all this yelling and screaming at each other, that's not going to get anything done. Only thing that's going to happen is, people going to get angrier, and but that's not the solution. Yelling and screaming at each other, it's only going to be through unity of everybody coming together and demanding change. Until that happens, and you keep yelling, oh, black, white, green, yellow, ain't nothing going to change. That's exactly what they want.
But I want to say this. I want to say this about politics. The problem with politics today is that we don't know politics.
Right.
When I was in 9th grade, I was taught civics.
Right.
So
civics,
you can look right now and say, oh, how they going to send money across the waters and they don't have it here? Because your money for here may not be coming from over there. What is that money dealt for? What's happening to the money that's bought in your community? What's happening to the tax? Because everything is taxed, 99.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's so sometimes in our community, we may be looking for money from Washington, but money not coming for what you need from Washington.
It's local. That's like
and
I said.
When we were coming up, when I was coming up, we were the baby boomers. We all worked. We had community. We paid taxes, and that's why it was all rich. That's how America became rich, off of the backs of slaves and baby boomers.
Yes.
However, now everybody want to be a billionaire. Just know this: the more people that hold on to billions of dollars, the less economics we have to go around in the city.
Absolutely.
So you selfishly holding billions of dollars, $1 billion, then I know that don't make no sense, but
no, it makes sense.
Then that's all money out of circulation. That's why they call it currency.
Right.
Because you want to hold billions, and all of y'all holding billions, and you're thinking that person that say they have billions that probably don't even have millions. Okay, and that's how we lose. That's how we lose, because we messed up thinking what is successful.
Right.
What is successful? What brings the richness? We don't understand money. We don't understand politics. And I'm gonna say, get out and vote. Get out and vote, because we have a whole lot to lose. We even threaten to lose a country that we could fight for if we don't get out and vote.
But you got to start at that local level.
Yeah, right.
The key is the local level, first off,
and know how that local level works towards the federal level, and how the state level works, what they do, and how they affect the local level. So you have to understand government. So if in order to be successful in government, you gotta go look up a 9th grade civics course to understand.
But see, that's the thing. Well, that's the thing. People don't want to take the time to do that. People don't even want to take the time to learn history. People don't even know that when Woodrow Wilson was president, he came in with the Sisters Confederacy, and they totally got rid of the history books that came before him, because he said, oh, I don't agree with this right here. So he got with the Sisters Confederacy, and they rewrote all the history books. So we don't even know the actual history of this country. And now you see how they trying to change the laws and everything. Look at what they do in Atlanta, how the voting board, what just happened with the voting board, how they trying to get people off the voter rolls, and people can challenge, one person can challenge like 10,000 people votes. Oh, these people shouldn't be on the voter rolls. And that's insanity right there.
Today it hit the news that Texas took millions of people. And I'm going to tell everybody, if you live in Texas, Go to My Voters page, Texas, and make sure you're still registered to vote, because you still have time to put your name back on a ballot if they removed it.
They're purging
Millions
people.
of people was taken, and it's because we have separated ourselves. Again, it comes to that curse word, discipline. How do we bring back discipline? How do we, to me, for our culture to be restored, we have to try to bring a structure to family. How do we begin? Where do we talk to us about that?
Well, first of all, you have to hold people accountable. And the first person that you have to hold accountable is yourself. If you can't keep a promise with yourself, how are you going to keep a promise with anybody else? There are things that we all know that we want, but everything that you want, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Everybody can't do the same thing. Everybody's not built to go to a 4-year college, and you don't have to go to a 4-year college to find success in America. This is just an illusion that, people have been told. There's so many people out here that have college degrees that have gotten nowhere with it. But they had the hard work, the discipline, and the focus to get through that. But what if they would have took that hard work, discipline, and put it into something else that didn't require them to go get $100,000 in debt? If people say, oh, well, a single mother can't raise kids, that's not true. But the thing about it is, the society makes it so hard for her because she has to work. And if you have to work, who's home with the kids? Sometimes as a parent, you have to hold your kids responsible. You have to hold them responsible. You can't say, oh, well, here's a pair of Jordans or here's a PlayStation 5 and you bring it home all lefts. Oh, I want my kids to be the nicest dresser in school and everything like that, but your kids ain't doing nothing. Sometimes you got to say no, not just to your kids, but sometimes you got to say no to yourself. Everybody wants it fast. Everybody wants it easy. I'll go get surgery and get this done right here. Oh, I'll do this. I'll do that. It'll get me there faster. Nobody wants to put the hard work in it because, like they said, we live in that microwave society. Quick, 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 quick. Well, guess what? Success is not quick. Success takes hard work. We see people and they're so rich and they're so successful. Yeah, you're seeing the end result of that. You're not seeing what they sacrificed to get to that. And that's the thing about it. When you showing people the end result and you're not telling them how it happened, how I did it, all they seeing is the fruits of the labor. And people say I want to do this right there. They don't want to do that. They just want the lifestyle of it. People wanted the easy way, and it ain't easy. And I know I dropped out of school in the 8th grade. And I mean, I was fortunate enough, like I said, I had, my friends' parents, they held me accountable. I was able to get my GED. But I was lucky to be able to do that. But I had people that helped, that that say, hey, look, this is the way we got it. This is how it works in our house. If you can't follow our rules, you gotta go. And eventually I had to go because this is the rules. And when I started not following the rules, I had to leave. And I still love them. I love both of them to this day. I mean, if it wasn't for, Joseph and Vera Haynes, I don't know where I would be at. Because they gave me that foundation. They said, look, kid, this is what you got to do. I hadn't been to school in years. His father was like, you got to go to school. I was like, go to school? I don't go to school. He was like, you do here? And I had to go, and I didn't know what was going on because I hadn't been there in so long. But still, I still was able to get my GED. But he held me accountable. And that's what parents have to do. That's what people have to do. Hold other people accountable. But you got to start off by holding yourself accountable. The discipline and everything like that. Look, you gotta make a decision. You can't be out here, like they said, double-minded man gets nowhere, double-minded woman gets nowhere. You in life, you have to make a decision and say, this is what I'm going to do, and that's it. But everybody's not going to be a big famous basketball player, a big famous actor, or a big famous YouTube star, or social media, what they call them, influencer. Everybody wants it easy. That's why things are the way they are. And when you see people at the top, that's because they said, you know what? I got my blinders on and I'm gonna be successful. I've met people who are on drugs bad, seen them year or two later out in the street. They're like, oh man, hey Scott, hey, you remember me? And I'm like, it was, if it wasn't for you, I would have never turned my life around. Thank you so much for believing in me. Thank you so much for getting me to believe in myself. And that's what I give. We all want to make money and everything. We all want our dreams to come true. But the thing is, to make money and to make your dreams come true, that doesn't necessarily equal money. Success, we got this whole big thing that success is how much money you got in the bank. Oh, this person is this person is that. It's Black people, we in such competition with each other. It ain't no need for that right there. We can work together. Once upon a time when all we had was us, we worked together fine. Everything that you see everybody else doing in America is all blueprint. That's all blueprint. You see what happened with the Asians when they got affirmative action out of there. You see that? They fought and they got rid of affirmative action, but now they shaking in their boots because they're like, oh man, now this, that, and the other. Yeah, of course you shaking in your boots because you didn't have a fight in that. You didn't put no work in for that. People didn't die for you. Your people didn't die for that. Your people didn't march. Your people didn't bleed. Your people didn't scream. Your people didn't beg for 400 years. Please give us this. Please give us this. Please give us this. And finally, when we get it, they took the whip off our back and put it in a pen. They opened it up for everybody. And who came in here? The Asians came in and said, oh, it's not fair. I mean, were you here before civil rights? No. That's why that kills me. People come here and they like, oh man, these Black people, these foundational Black people are this, that, and the other. But you don't understand the fight that was fought for you to walk in at the finish line and walk into opportunities that people put their lives on the line for you to get. And then you want to get here and point your finger at people and say, oh, y'all lazy, y'all this, y'all that. What? Nah, that's because you don't know the history of the country. So before you start talking and telling people how they live in is right or wrong, or before you start judging, understand what had to happen for you to be able to get to that point. And because you here, you taking opportunities from people that been here, and the United States is rolling out the red carpet because they took the whip off our back and put it in a pen. And a wise man named Charlie Cato told me that. An old man that I worked with that was out there marching and doing all of that, and I was taking care of him when he was an old man, and he told me that. He told me so many different things. He said the civil rights lost steam when Martin Luther King got killed. He was like, yeah, well, if they willing to kill Martin Luther King Jr., everybody's up for grabs, and everybody slowed down after that right there, because now it wasn't a game anymore, because lives was on the line.
But
sorry, I didn't mean to get off.
That very thing
discipline.
When they changed the fight, we didn't change the fight. When they changed the fight to the pen, we didn't pick up the pen.
No.
By the time they have done what they're gonna do, and now it's not only Black people, but they've already done it. Let's say if they want to sell a land. We're gonna sell this land. All the time, it's the Black community. We're selling the land. We start the fight after the land is sold. No, we should know who own our community.
Mm-hmm.
We should help people who fight, and that's why it's very important for me to have this someone come on in the season that I'm recording now to talk about the importance of owning your land. It becomes We don't own anything. They don't have to come burn us down anymore because we don't have a Black Wall Street.
No,
Okay,
no,
we
but
don't have a Black Wall Street. We don't. They don't have to worry about destroying our families because our families are already broken. I name,
just
your family
not
name.
all black families, but again, like I said, 83% are living above the poverty line. So
But what I'm
somebody's
saying
doing
is,
something.
but what I'm saying is, and we've lost our culture in that.
Yeah.
80% of us, 80% of us, you're right. And then I said that that Nola Reed said, successful people put in the hard work, right?
Yeah.
And you don't see the hard work, or
No.
you don't want. But guess what? That person that worked like a dog for years to get it will have many friends and family that show up when they think they have reached that,
Oh yeah.
reached that point. But I don't want to get off on that. But I want to address Nola. But
He who
But
works like a
we're not
slave eats
living
like a
like
king.
us. That 80%, most of us are not living like us. One place let me give kudos to my city. My city is New Orleans. We have a strong culture. We have a strong culture, and we have. I
Absolutely.
believe if anybody else that's listening,
I
if
love
they're
New
from New
Orleans.
Orleans and they have something else to say, we held on to a lot of our strong cultures and beliefs and family. We held on to a lot of that. Um, and I thank God for that. Like we have second lines, the things we do. We believe in a family being together. We believe in cooking food. Something as simple as there should be a real meal for
Mm-hmm.
my family. That's not slavery to a New Orleans woman, no matter her race. That's not slavery. We believe in taking care of our family. So a lot of the culture, like you're saying, is not all of it. I still see it because I'm from an
Mm-hmm.
area that believes strongly in our culture. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, it's 70 and 80% is many of us that's living in the middle class, but we weren't there like Miss Mary in our neighborhood who helped Daddy raise us. We've come to that point now. We don't want nobody to tell our children
Mm-hmm.
nothing. And the other part of that is you can't trust people to tell your children something. So before we run out of time, can we talk about how can we, where can we begin to restore? We're losing the identity. Not to me. I don't know even how to say it. But my sister and I was talking, and we were saying, Lord, what has happened to our nation? You know, God is going to be bad, and nobody's listening. God is talking, but nobody's listening. How do we begin to? Where do we? What?
Well, first, if with anything, it's going to start in the home. That's the first place. We would love to restore the churches. And I'm not saying all churches because there's some churches out there that's doing their thing pretty heavy. How I feel about Word of Faith with Bishop Dale
Right.
Bronner.
Yeah.
I'm a big supporter of him. I've been,
Me
I
too.
was
I'm a
getting his
member.
tapes for, back in the 90s. I was ordering his tapes when they were free. Bishop, if you listen, free. But you can get them on YouTube now, watch them on YouTube. But when his tapes were free, But no, it starts in the home. It starts with you know, I hate to say it, but Chris Rock said it best. He said, as a parent, you can't get your party on and your parent on. You can't do both. So as a parent, when you decide to have children, it's a sacrifice. I understand that you have to work and all of that, but still these children deserve to hear from their parents, and they don't need to hear what's going on social media. Who cares about what some singer doing? Who cares about what some athlete doing off or outside of their art? Like the people for their art. Who cares about what they're doing in their personal life? And that's the thing. People get caught up in people's personal lives. You got a personal life. You got children at home. You need to talk with your kids. You need to find out what's going on at your children's school. Be involved there. Demand that the school teach the kids the things that they need to. Just like you see how these people on these school boards are saying, oh, we're going to ban these books and everything like that. That's because the parents is getting together and they voting these people and they able to do it. Well, guess what? We can do it in our community too. You just got to get out there and do it. You can't just say, all right, well, here's this, here's that, and you'll be fine. Everything will be okay. It's not fine. It's not okay. We're not talking. We're not communicating. I made it. You know how I am with my son. I got my son with me, and my son's friends are here all the time. One of my son's friends just told me he dropped out of high school in his senior year, and I was all on him about that. And he was like, yeah, well, I might have to go back. Yeah, it ain't no might. You got to go back. You in your senior year. And the thing about it is having people around that have that attitude, that's not going to let you drop the ball. That's not going to let you quit. People that's going to hold you accountable. And that's what we need in our community. If you see some young guys out there, you want to say something to them, but you're scared because they might pull out a gun. You see it all the time now. Everybody got a gun. Pull up your pants. Next thing you know, people getting shot. The question is, as a parent, what are you going to do? How are you going to break the cycle? That's where the cycle is going to break. With the parents, with at home, monitoring what your children watch, monitoring what they listen to. The thing for me, with me, what made me an effective parent is that I didn't hold nothing back from my children. I told my kids all the things that I did because I didn't want them to think that there was somebody outside in the street that was cooler than nobody. I'm scared to talk to my kids and tell them, man, you hide and what you did for me, kids. Nah, you need to tell your kids and tell them about the mistakes that you made. So that way you can break the cycle and they can say, okay, well, that wasn't right. My dad or my mom went through this right here. That wasn't okay. But you gotta start in the home. It starts with the parents and the children. If you're not talking to your parents, the kids are not talking to your parents, your kids ain't talking to you, you losing because they talking to somebody else and somebody else is listening. More than likely is a kid that don't know what they doing. They still trying to find themselves. And that's how so many of these young kids get caught up in all of the nonsense they get caught up in. We seen it. We seen a kid that was going to Georgetown, came home for the Christmas break. One of his friends gave him bad drugs. Now he ain't going nowhere. The girl that got scholarships all across the country in senior year in high school, she out there doing mushrooms and drugs with her mother. Next thing you know, she done lost her mind. She inside a mental health facility. She done gone crazy. She'll never get back down to earth again. So as a parent, don't be cool with your kids. Be their parent. Don't try to be their friend. You gotta be the parent. Both can't, me and my son, we get along just fine. I'm the parent. I set the rules. He follows the rules of my household. He's 18 now. If you don't like the rules of my household, there go the door. Because this is how we work in here. And I've always talked to my children, and I think that parents should talk to their children. If you don't have somebody in the house to talk to a teacher. Go talk to a minister if that's what you got to go talk to. They ain't all bad. But find somebody to talk to that's doing what you want to do with your life, not somebody out here still in the loop, disappearing and everything. It's so many avenues for young kids to get off course with. It's simple. Like legalizing weed and everything like that. Kids don't need an escape from, they need an escape to. We need to hold these school boards accountable. Parents got to get involved. That's the one thing that the Black community had at one point. We were big on education. Talk to your children. That's how you get the change. That's how you make things better at home and in the community. Because if you don't care, wash your day. I'm sorry to go off on these tangents, but just how I am. You know how it is when we talk.
I wish you would have went a little harder. But
You know,
look,
you want me to
I'm
go
gonna
harder. I don't want to go too hard, but
look.
but I can though. Because
I know.
I've
I
been
want
there
to talk.
myself.
I want to talk, Scotty. I want to talk about how the household is out of hand. These children cursing their parents out, hitting their parents, calling their mom who's taking care of them bees. I had a patient that came into the mental health institution because her brother would beat up her mom. Worked. The brother is just out of hand, cursing everybody out, and she admitted sometimes I do it too. Sometimes I curse my mama too, till the point where I guess her and her brother were fighting, and she said, "I'm gonna take this scissors, I'm killing all of y'all, taking y'all brains out and
That's it.
selling it on
Ouch.
eBay." I was like, "Oh my God," But children are actually, and I know I'm telling the truth, cursing their parents out. I mean, they will curse their parents out. Where in the F is my food? You not address that for us. Or how do parents in that situation, and even everybody in the house, one child cursing everybody out, making light, just destroying the whole household? I don't even know how.
You know how it got there. You know how it got. You know exactly how it got there. It got, especially with us as Black people, we assimilated because we bought into that. Oh, you don't have to discipline your kids. People say spare the rod and spoil the child, but it also says in the Bible that you have to discipline your children. It says that a couple of verses down. If you use the rod, it surely will not kill them. There's no repercussions. That's why these kids are the way they are. Because once upon a time, it was like, well, if I do this, I know when I get home, I'm gonna get this. But if ain't nobody home to give it, what you gonna get? If you have a child in your house that's out of order like that, you got to get them some help. You have to get them some help because it's sad to say that, and we seen it where people come in the facility and they don't learn, and next thing you know, they dead. Because you're gonna run into somebody out there that's not trying to hear that. They ain't trying to. You ain't gonna jump in their face. You ain't gonna jump on them and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this right here," and they gonna pull out a gun. They gonna pull out a knife, and they gonna kill you. And the sad part about it is, they getting younger. 14-year-olds out there killing people now. 12-year-olds following behind people who are following behind people who are following behind people who've been lost. You're not going to be able to save everybody. It's just not a realistic expectation to think that you're going to be able to get to everybody, but you're going to be able to get to somebody. And that's the key. You have to fight through the crowds of people to get that one person that's willing to listen, because that one person is going to be the spark that's going to change it for the next person and change it for the next person. I used to tell my son, I said, listen, you go into a multicultural school. I said, you go in there and do what you're supposed to do. I said, because if you're not, you're going to have to deal with me when you get home. But you go do what you're supposed to do. So when the next kid that comes behind you that looks like you, he won't have to go through it. He won't get prejudged. He'll be able to get a fair shot at things. And that comes from a parent. That comes from being at home and being able to talk to your children and holding them accountable. When I was young, I didn't go to school. My mom didn't even care if I went to school. I mean, and I love her to death because she was a single mother. She did the best that she could, but my mom was a soldier. That's what she was. She was in the Army for 22 years. Lily Gibson, I love her. I miss her to death. But she was a soldier, but she was young. And the only thing that saved me and my brothers and sisters is my mother joined the Army and she took us out of New York. Because when I went back to New York, you already know the story, in and out of jail, not going to school, running with the wrong crowd. And I was fortunate enough that I was able to get out because all my friends and my cousins, and when I left, they all went to prison, and some of them did hard time. And I was fortunate enough doing my little skit here, my little 2 weeks there, my little couple weeks over here. I was fortunate enough to get out of that. But again, who got me out of all of that? My mother did. So I'm thankful for that. But because she did the best that she could, and there's a lot of parents out here doing the best that they could. But you gotta do something to show your children, because it starts with the kids. Once you've grown and everything like that, you making decisions, yeah, but it starts with the youth. That's why everybody's so eager with getting to the youth, because that's where it starts. That's where change takes place. And change takes place with children at home. You can't buy your way out of this. You can't buy your way out of this. And that's not just black people, that's everybody. You can't buy your way out of this. We all in this together. Either we're gonna all fly together or we're gonna all crash and burn. And you see what's going on in America. America is on fire. It's burning. And that's because people are blaming each other instead of blaming themselves. What role do you play? Nobody wants to accept that part. It's always, this person or that person. It's never me. And at the end of the day, it's like, who's responsible for you? Who's responsible for your children? Who's responsible for your household? Who's responsible for your community? We are. All of us. We all in this together. Either we're gonna all work together or we're gonna all crash and burn. The whole race thing, when the police ain't doing what they're supposed to do in there, get them out. Don't march because somebody that was destroying the community done went through some situation. What about the people who ain't destroying the community? What about what they going through?
Exactly.
Because somebody's selling drugs and they gang banging in the community and everybody else is under siege because of that. Where's the anger about that? Who's marching for those people?
Say that.
Who's marching for those people? The church used to do that. Church ain't going out there no more. Pastor so-and-so ain't going out there no more. Yeah, he gonna march down Memorial Drive. He ain't gonna go march on Central Drive. That's where the trouble at, Central Drive. It's just like those guys you saw in Tennessee, the KKK, they was marching down there in Nashville at the Capitol, down on the main streets. Oh, black people this, black people that. What you marching down there for? You know where black people at? Go march down there. Go in their neighborhood and march. They ain't gonna do that. Cameras ain't going out there. The reporters definitely ain't going out there. But they ain't going out there. That's where the problem is at. That's where you got a problem. Go to the problem. Don't sit back and, those days of we shall overcome and all that, marching and burning your community down. Nah, those days is over, man. Build. That's what we need to do. Like you said, we don't own land. Well, I grew up in New York. They said that people were walking up to ringing doorbells and showing people suitcases full of money, and people were selling their parents' house, $200,000. You get $200,000 cash. You blow through that. Now you get an apartment, and now you done gave up the most valuable asset that your parents worked hard for you to get, that property in New York City. And this is what they did. And that's what they do. So, these things have to be taught. These things have to be learned. The church want to get back in the community, fine. Get back in the community, but get back in the right way. Stop telling people that, oh, you're going to be blessed. Oh, there's blessings. Everything, God's just going to rain blessings. If you do this, you're going to be blessed, blessed, blessed. Guess what? God don't just bless. God curses. God kills. God has killed millions. He destroyed the world one time and he'll destroy it again. Or she'll destroy it. Or that entity will destroy it. But it all starts in the home. It starts with the parents. Everything starts at the home. Excuse me. That's how you get the foundation together.
Sigrid said, Mr. Scott, I didn't say anything, but I enjoyed listening to you. I agree with a lot of what you said.
Tell her I said
and I want to tell parents whose little boys beating them up. I worked with a nurse whose adopted cousin cut off the aunt,
Excuse me.
killed the auntie, and put him in a garbage can because she wouldn't give him what he wanted. I also worked in a prison and
I've
at the
been there too.
juvenile prison over there in Atlanta. And the young boy, oh, he seemed like he was so sweet. I said, "Your parents are so proud of you, huh?" He said, "No, they're not." Come to find out, he lived with his grandmother. He wanted his grandmother to give him money for cigarettes, and they said no. And he killed his grandmother. He was in there for murder. Big Chop Gaming 2.0 said, "Preach." And bro, I want to say that you bought us um, you bought us some truth, and it's only truth that's gonna set us free. Y'all,
Could
that's
have got
my.
heavier, but I didn't want to go too deep on it. But you know how I get. I can make it. You know,
But we're in a desperate situation.
I
You know,
know
we don't even understand. We're in a desperate situation.
we're in a flaming
Cigarette sky.
building. The building's on fire. You know, we gotta take care of our own. We gotta take care of each other. You know, first we gotta get our house in order. You know, we have to get our house in order. And the thing about it is, we already have a blueprint how to do it. Listen. People might not agree with everything that Martin Luther King Jr. did. Hey, his personal life, I'm not here to judge nobody for that. But he gave us the blueprint on how to get change, on how to make things right. Now it just can't be about money, 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 money. We got the blueprint on how to do it. Malcolm X gave us the blueprint on how to do it. You have to stop listening to there's a lot of people that we put up as leaders and role models. They're not that. They just people just like us, and we admire them for a job that they do. Nobody's willing to put their life on the line. Until you have people that are willing to put their life on the line for this change, nothing's going to change. That's it. People going to have to, sometimes it's casualties in war. People say we want a revolution. Revolutions are bloody. Are you willing to die for it? Are you willing to fight for it? Are you willing to
Yes.
go toe to toe with the community to say enough is enough? We had enough. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Until we get people that are willing to do that, it's not going to change. And the young people need to be the ones to do it. Those are the soldiers, the young people. We got more people now going to college and everything like that. But we need people doing regular everyday jobs too. We need electricians, we need plumbers, we need police officers. We need these people in our community. We need young people to get out here and get trades. You don't gotta go to school for 4 years and get a degree to make 100,000 a year. You can go to a trade school and get that in a year and a half, 2 years, and be making $100,000 a year. Easy. It's easy with hard work, focus, and discipline. I know because I did it. I got this college and I didn't even know what a GPA was. My GPA was 2.4. I'm trying to get in a nursing program. And somebody lied. They was like 2.4. What's wrong with you, man? Because I didn't know. And I didn't have people around me that knew. Until somebody that was a friend of mine that just happened to be in a class with me pulled my coat and said, "Hey, bro, we 4.0s in here. If you're going to go to school, don't just go to school." She said, "Go to school." And because I caught on, so I didn't catch on late, but I was still able to graduate college with a 3.45 GPA. I got a GED. I was never dumb. I just was stupid because I didn't want to listen to nobody. I thought I knew everything.
Could you say that again?
I was stupid. I wasn't dumb. I was just stupid because I didn't want to listen to nobody. I was always book smart. And you have so many young people out here that are book smart, but they can't be themselves because they're too busy running behind trying to be cool and being part of something with everybody else. And you can't do it.
Listen.
Gotta be your own man.
Can't listen.
You gotta be your own man. You know, you gotta believe in yourself, man. If you can't look in the mirror and love what you see, then you lose. You lose because nobody's gonna love you more than you love yourself. And it takes sacrifice to get to where you want to get to. And I'm telling young people, you don't gotta go to 4-year school to get to get a degree to make money and live a good life in America. You can go to a trade school and do that. We've been lied to. There's just certain job fields that you have to have a degree to do it. And there's other ones that you don't have to. You just have to have the training in the hands. So everybody's not going to be able to hit the books, but you can get that hands-on training. And we used to be able to. When we had our community, we did that. Father would teach his son. Father, you didn't have a dad, bring your son's friends over here. We'll teach them here, and then we'll hire you on here because we know you're getting that hands-on training. And this is what has to happen. Drugs, gangs, violence is all in the same ways. Dead or jail. There ain't no other way around it. I worked in the prison with young dudes that was going to jail 15, 20 years at 18 years old. I was there. I worked in the Augusta Medical Prison, young guys that was gang banging, got tattoos all over themselves coming in there. We stitching them up. They laying on their stomach. We stitching them up. And now guess what? You got 20 more years to go and you're going back to where you just came from. And you already done been a victim there. It's real. It ain't no game out here. You know, it's death or jail. That's what's out here. Young people out here, all these people out here having this uncontrolled, unprotected sex. Look, these diseases is out here. Please protect yourself. I worked in the AIDS unit. I know what that's like. Please protect yourself. These things will kill you. Young people out here smoking this weed and everything like that. I'm here to let you know all that weed ain't clean. I've worked with people who smoked a joint and then lost their sanity. I seen it. I seen the fentanyl.
Every day.
I seen it. It's out here every day. It's not safe. It's not safe. If you're going to legalize drugs, legalize marijuana just for that alone so the kids or the people that smoking it can get clean marijuana. If you're going to do it, but for them not to do it, and these people out here just smoking, Vivacious, we done seen it. We know what's out here. We know what people going through every day. You know, and I care. And you know, they call me the people whisperer.
Yes,
they call me the people whisperer because I care. You know, it's a bigger picture to me with this. You know, I enjoy people. I enjoy helping them. I enjoy talking to them. And you know, again, like I said, I could have went in a lot harder than I went in tonight. You know, and I could have probably hurt some people's feelings. Well, you know, I'll catch it on the next one because I'm hoping that you'll invite me back.
This was a very, very rich night. Very rich night.
Thank you.
Very rich night.
Thank you.
But I'm hoping that you can come back, though, Scotty.
Oh yeah.
And we got to talk to these young men out here.
We got to, you know, men have to be fathers. You know, I know people say, oh, you know, my baby's mother don't this, that, and everything like that. You know, listen, go to court, pay your child support, whether you like it or not, pay the child support. As long as you pay the child support, you're going to get access to your children. Period. And you need to be in their lives. You can't just give them stuff. You know, sons need their fathers. Daughters, oh my God, daughters need their fathers. I can't tell you how many young girls that I done, man, that I've seen that just been ran through because they ain't got nobody at home that they think love them. They dad ain't giving them a hug. They dad ain't talking to them. They can't pick up the phone and be like, daddy, 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 over some nonsense. Please get in your kids' lives. Please care. Please care about more than yourself. You know, the material stuff can't replace the time. You know, you only get one shot at this lifetime. Please do it for your kids. If you don't do nothing else, get yourself together for the kids. Again, like I said, you're not going to be able to save everybody, but you can save more than you can lose by just taking the time and being involved in somebody's life. You know, a lot of these kids, they just want somebody to listen to. They just want somebody to talk to. They just want somebody to tell them, "Hey, it's gonna be all right. I got your back." You know, and I do that. I do that all the time, and that's why, again, like I said, when you see somebody that's life has been out of control, and you run into them a year, 2 years later, and they see you and you out, and they see you first, and they like, "Hey, Scott, hey," and you know, I'm with my son, and I had that a couple of times with my son, and people say to me, my son, "You got such a great dad, incredible dad," and I'd be like, "He don't know what he got." But he do. You know what he got. My daughter too. They know
Yes,
what
he does.
they
Yes,
know
he
what
does.
yeah, they know what they got. But that's the key. You know, you have to be involved and be part of their lives. That's it. But that's the message that I would like to just, you know, the things that I said. Again, I could have went a lot harder, but I didn't, you know,
But I
maybe
think
next
you laid
time.
it right on people's hearts. This is what we need. This is going to cause people to think. This is
Yeah,
what we
that's
need.
thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And look, please, if you're listening, please press like. I
Yes.
have a lot of people that's here, but they don't press like. Please press like. Thank you so much, Scotty,
Thank
um,
you for having me.
for being here. And look, I'm gonna call you tomorrow.
Okay.
But tonight was way, way, way valuable. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. This is the word that will change the world. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good night, everybody. To
Good
everybody I
night,
know, thank you for
everybody.
tuning in.
Press
Appreciate
like.
you.